What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in, and I am super pumped today. Are you pumped? Are you really pumped? Well, yeah, I think I have something good to say. Better be worth my while because time is limited. Okay, so I just finished my training for delts, and I have a super duper awesome, sweet, fantabulous, there's probably more adjectives to describe this exercise that I think can be your one-stop shop for lateral raises for the medial delts. The purpose of this is, I want you guys to be able to do this at your home. So why not be able to take what I'm able to do here out of the luxury of a gym, sorry, not to rub it in your face, and be able to implement it at home. That's the purpose of this medial delt exercise. Now, to do this exercise, first of all, you need good execution of lateral raises. That's the prerequisite. Second of all, you need to have the mindset that you're gonna do this at a high level of effort, because I don't want you guys doing a whole lot of worthless sets. For me today, it only took 3 sets of somewhere between like 10 to 15 repetitions. The beauty of this thing is that you only need limited resources. Here's what you're gonna need. A band, a skinny band. I get my bands at Elite FTS, this little thing here. Ideally, some kind of cuff, like a leg cuff, a wrist cuff, something that's gonna fit over, and attached to that guy, a carabiner, cheapo carabiner. Get it at Lowe's, get it at Home Depot, get it off Amazon, somewhere. Next, a broomstick. Get it off your broom, stop sweeping the floor, and use it for your training. And last, if you can see behind me, some kind of fixed object. I use this functional trainer, but you can use literally anything that you won't rip out of the ground or have move when you're going through this exercise. And that's it. So let's jump right in. I'm gonna call this thing some kind of dumbbell banded lateral raise. The exercise doesn't really matter. If you have a fancier, more wittier name, I'll leave that to you. That's not my thing. I'm sure most of you guys out there are probably wondering, like, why not just do a regular dumbbell lateral raise? That's still a good exercise, and some of you might be doing those and having good progress. However, there may be a point of limitation to that long-term or short-term for some of you. And the reason why is that exercise is most loaded here in the top, and that dumbbell is applying some kind of force straight down, and it's not so loaded down here. So enter the band. Now I have a band that has this kind of like horizontal style force and resistance. It gives me a little added extra like in the bottom, right? So now I'm working here, and here, and here, and here. Anytime we're trying to train and stimulate some certain isolated muscle group, I really think it's important for you guys all to consider that you should be trying to work equally throughout the entire range of motion as opposed to just an abbreviated part of the range of motion. Now, Bryce, why is that important? Because we want the quality of our volume to be at a top level all the time, which means at a top level through the entire range of motion, at a top level with our exercise setups, our exercise selections, and at a top level with how many exercises we actually include in our workout. I mean, if you can do less and yield more results, aren't you gonna be on board with that? I'm on board with that, so jump in the car, let's take a ride. All right, so let's jump right in. What we have here is a band that is at a lower setting on this fixed rack. It's not all the way to the ground, but it's a couple inches off the ground. What I would like personally is once I set up in that lateral raise and I get out into somewhat this middle of the range. So let's say that my arm goes through this entirety of a range of motion right here, my humerus through a lateral raise. I'd like for that band to kind of be 90 degrees with my wrist and hand, cuff, however you want to look at it, right about here. That'd be nice, okay? Now, you have a lot of opportunity to add variance to this. If you feel like if that band is kind of hardest right in this part here, but it's not hard enough, you You can take a little step this way. Now the band's a little tighter, a little more, it's a little tighter. Or if you're starting to fatigue, you can step back. So remember, it's just like a rubber band. The more you stretch that band out, the more intensity or resistance it's going to add. It just can't take away from your performance. The less, if you need less, just step back. And so the less that band will apply resistance throughout. So it's really up to your internal gauge as to where that band should be. But what I would suggest is a lower band setting for most of you. Now, why the dumbbells still? Because we still need some kind of significant load in the end of the range of motion. You need to make sure that that dumbbell load is something that you can get quality contractions here. So you shouldn't be swinging up into that top motion. You should be contracting all the way through and squeezing the heck out of that position there. However, now we have something that is kind of hardish here, like I talked before, and as that band starts to get a little closer to my body and maybe isn't applying quite as much resistance to the medial delt, now the dumbbell starts to kick on and add equal resistance that the band was doing in the bottom. Okay, enough of me talking about all this nonsense with mechanics and execution. Take a look at a working set. One thing I'd like to mention is that your degree of bending over and where your upper arm is in or out, it's called internally rotate or externally rotate, is completely up to you to figure out. You are your own individual, your body is different than mine, and it's gonna feel more comfortable and execute better at a different position than mine will as well. You need to find what position allows you to kind of get this motion happening without a bunch of other garbage on the inside wanting to take over and doing extra movement. So play around with it. It may not feel perfect the first time, but after a couple sets, even after a couple of workouts, that skill is gonna start to develop and you're gonna get better execution out of this thing. All right, so call me biased, but that exercise is pretty freaking awesome, right? Something that is hard here, 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 here. I don't know what the heck to call that thing, the bandy, dumbbelly, fixed position-y, handcuffy, lateral raise thingy. You know, it's just kind of like the home edition perfect lateral raise. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys at home. I know you're limited. I know sometimes you guys get frustrated, but trust me, that exercise right there is almost as perfect as any exercise I personally would implement on myself in the gym. It absolutely trashed me. So go, take your time, set up, have fun, do 2 to 5 working sets, and let me know how that exercise absolutely smoked your medial delts. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Subscribe, like, share, comment, interact, whatever it is you do. Until next time,